I've seen more than my fair share of color problems in older photos, and this is a very good example of the type of problems that I run into from time to time. I'm not sure if this was caused by damage after the print had been placed into a photo album, or if perhaps there had been some light leakage on the original transparency, the original negative. But whatever the cause, I have this orange blob over on the left side of the frame, and I'd obviously like to correct that color. You can see that that discoloration is not affecting the texture in the photo. We can still see, for example, the grass texture back here. It's only affecting the color. So I'm going to alter the color in the photo in order to improve the result. I'll start off by adding a new layer. I'll click on the Create New Layer button, the blank sheet of paper icon at the bottom of the Layers panel, and then I'll rename this layer simply by double-clicking on the name for the layer and typing something new. I'll just type Color Fix, for example, and then press Enter or Return on the keyboard. I also want to make sure to change the blend mode for this layer. I don't want to paint pixels directly on top of my photo, but rather I want to paint pixels that will only alter the color of the underlying image. And so I'm going to change the blend mode to color. Next, I'll grab the brush tool from the toolbox, and then I'll make sure that I'm working with a soft edge brush. I'm going to use a hardness value of 0%, and then I can move my mouse out over the image and adjust the brush size as needed, pressing the left square bracket key to reduce the size of the brush, or the right square bracket key to increase the size of the brush. I then need to find a color that I'm going to paint with, and we'll start off with a shade of green that matches the grass. And so with my brush tool active, I'm going to hold the Alt key on Windows or the Option key on Macintosh while clicking on an area of the grass. Holding the Alt or Option key with the brush tool active will give me the eyedropper tool temporarily, and as you can see, then clicking in the image has set my foreground color to the color that was underneath the mouse. Now I'm ready to paint into this area of the image, the area that has this reddish-orange color cast, and I'm going to replace that color with a shade of green taken from directly within the photo, so I know the color is going to match reasonably well. I'll go ahead and paint that color into the photo, ideally only painting on areas of grass. You can see that some of these areas don't quite match up as well as I would have liked. I think the color I chose just wasn't quite right for portions of the grass here, but that's no problem. I can simply hold the Alt or Option key once again and click in another area of the image and find a different shade of grass, a different shade of green to be used within the photo. And I can continue in this manner as needed, painting what I feel is a more appropriate color into specific areas of the photo. Of course, in this case, I'm only working on the grass. I still need to deal with the elbow here. The jacket has been discolored as well, and so I'll go ahead and hold the Alt or Option key and click on the jacket, and then click and drag to paint on portions of that jacket. You can see that I've overlapped into the grass area, and so I can simply choose a shade of green from the grass and then paint a little bit more carefully along that edge. There we go. So obviously not a perfect result, but I'm making progress here. I can continue working in terms of sampling the colors. But let's take a look at what I've done thus far. I'll go ahead and turn off the background image layer, and you can see the various shades of green that I've painted within the image. I've actually just been painting a solid color. But because I'm using the color blend mode, only the color of the underlying image is being affected. I'm not adjusting tonality, and therefore I'm not altering the texture. So I'll go ahead and turn off the visibility for that color fix layer and then turn it back on again. You can see probably a few areas that aren't a perfect match, but I can continue fine-tuning those. But obviously I've already made a huge improvement. So simply by painting colors that already exist within the photo, using that color blend mode, we can very quickly and easily correct color problems in a photo.